You didn't click by impulse. It wasn't random, and it certainly wasn't the algorithm. It was your future self, the version of you already living the life you've been craving, that sent a signal back through the quantum field to guide you here. If you feel a shiver right now, it's not coincidence, it's resonance, it's the frequency of a shift already unfolding inside you. Something deep within knows this isn't just another video, this is an activation, a silent reminder that the moment has arrived. And the only question left is, will you ignore it, or will you step through the portal? This video isn't here to simply inform you, it's here to mirror you, to reflect the resonance between who you are now and the future self already waiting in another frequency. Nothing about this is chance. Everything is convergence. Your shift has been activated because there's a call, an invitation to embody the life that's been pulsing inside you, hidden beneath the static of the old self. Today, the veil begins to lift. Today, you will remember, and that remembrance may not feel comfortable, but it will transform you. There's a moment in everyone's journey when the mind and the heart start pulling in opposite directions. The mind, trained by years of static and noise, wants to analyze, label, and postpone. It whispers, "Wait until it makes sense," while the heart already vibrates with the signal of your future self. This is the conflict. One side bound to the old ego, the other resonating with a field far beyond logic. You've probably felt this when you stood before a decision, job, relationship, or even a small daily choice. Knowing deep inside the answer was clear, yet your head insisted on negotiating with fear. Think about the times you felt drawn to something, a new path, a bold move, but your mind quickly built a list of reasons why it wasn't practical. That's the old self speaking, clinging to control. Meanwhile, your heart, acting like a quantum compass, already senses the resonance of the future that's waiting. It's like hearing a melody through static on the radio. The song is there, but the interference of the mind makes you doubt. Shift begins the moment you stop letting the noise override the clarity of intuition and allow presence to lead. Your mind, shaped by past experiences, seeks safety in repetition. It filters life through old frequencies, keeping you aligned with what you already know. But the heart breathes in expansion. It feels the body as an antenna tuned to the subtle vibrations of possibility. Imagine someone offered you a map, but your heart was the compass. One shows paths already drawn, the other points toward new territory. Mastery lies in noticing when the map no longer fits and trusting the compass of your inner knowing. This tug-of-war can feel exhausting. One moment you're excited about the growth that lies ahead. The next, you're paralyzed by the thought of leaving the familiar behind. The ego thrives in this hesitation, reminding you of past failures and painting worst-case scenarios. But your future consciousness doesn't argue. It simply vibrates with clarity. You may not hear words, but you sense alignment, a pull that's undeniable. It's the same way you know when someone in the room truly cares about you, not through logic, but through resonance you can't explain. In daily life, this conflict shows up in subtle ways. Maybe you've felt called to wake up earlier, start journaling, or change your diet. Your heart gives you the signal with gentle nudges, an inner whisper to align your body and mind. But then your head says, "What difference will it make?" That's the old frequency of static keeping you stuck. Yet the shift starts with tiny acts of sovereignty, choosing presence over excuses. Something as simple as breathing deeply before answering a message can reconnect you to your future self. I once knew someone who always dreamed of moving abroad, but stayed in the same city for years because the mind said it's too risky. Yet, whenever they traveled, they felt alive, like their body was resonating with expansion. Eventually, they listened to that vibration, left the old noise behind, and discovered not just a new country, but a new version of themselves. The external move was only a mirror of the internal shift, choosing mastery of presence over the ego's resistance. Their story reminds us that the body never lies. It feels the truth long before the mind accepts it. The more you practice noticing this inner conflict, the easier it becomes to catch the ego in the act. Next time you feel torn, pause and breathe. Ask yourself, is this thought creating expansion or contraction? Your future self communicates through feelings, not arguments. Presence, breath, and attention act like antennas clearing the static. It's not about silencing the mind, but about giving the heart the first word. This practice transforms hesitation into alignment, confusion into clarity. It's a daily mastery that grows stronger each time you choose resonance over fear. And here's where the real shift begins, when you stop bargaining with fear and start embodying the quiet certainty of the heart. The mind will still chatter, but its voice loses power when you anchor into the frequency of trust. This is the first doorway into quantum alignment, the threshold between the old self and the new. And as you step into it, a new tension arises, one that feels less like conflict and more like preparation. Picture an archer drawing the bow. The arrow doesn't move forward yet, but the energy is building in silence. That tension feels uncomfortable, but it's the very force that will carry the arrow farther than expected. Life works the same way. When you feel stuck, when nothing seems to change, your future self is stretching the bow. The quantum field is aligning frequencies, and your body is the antenna sustaining that vibration. In those pauses, what looks like nothing is actually resonance preparing to break through. Think of waiting for a job opportunity. Days pass without emails, and the mind panics. The ego calls it failure, static, wasted time. But in truth, the unseen alignment is happening. The right frequency is converging. It's like standing at a train station. Even when you don't see the train, the tracks hum with vibration, signaling something is on its way. The mastery here is sustaining presence during the waiting, not letting impatience pull you out of alignment. Daily life offers countless mirrors of this. Imagine baking bread. You knead, you prepare, and then you must let it rest. The yeast works in silence, invisible yet essential. If you cut the process short, the bread collapses. Shift works the same way. That silence is not emptiness, it's growth. Intuition whispers, hold the tension, while the ego wants immediate proof. Your heart, however, already feels the expansion coming, even when the eyes can't see it yet. Many people mistake this pause as a sign to quit. They say, if nothing is happening, I must be wrong. But the future self knows this is the sacred interval. The bow pulled tighter, the arrow closer to release. The frequency you hold in those moments decides the trajectory. It's not about effort, it's about alignment. Just like meditation, the hardest part isn't breathing, it's staying with the breath when the noise of the mind insists on wandering. I once mentored someone who felt frustrated because they were journaling, meditating and visualizing, but their reality didn't shift instantly. They thought the practices weren't working, yet 6 months later, opportunities exploded all at once, like a floodgate opening. Looking back, they realized the quiet period was not wasted. It was the bow being drawn. Their patience became the mastery that allowed the convergence to finally happen. Shift often looks delayed, but it's only gestating. This stage also teaches sovereignty. You can't rush the universe, just like you can't force a seed to sprout before its time. All you can do is nurture the soil, your thoughts, your breath, your presence. Each day of stillness becomes practice in mastery, proving to yourself that you can sustain frequency without evidence. And paradoxically, that steadiness is the signal the field needs to move. The old self gives up at this point. The future self breathes deeper. Think of a musician tuning an instrument before the concert. To the untrained ear, it sounds like noise, random notes, unnecessary delay. But without that resonance, the entire performance would collapse. Life's waiting periods are the same. The static hides the preparation for harmony. It's here that intuition acts as your compass, reminding you the alignment is closer than your mind believes. The mastery lies in enjoying the tuning, not just craving the music. And so, while the mind begs for action, the heart knows the pause is action disguised as silence. The bow is tense, the arrow steady, the body ready as the antenna. And just as you lean into that tension, life whispers, "Don't break, don't release too soon." Because the moment of release is coming, and it will carry you into a new corridor where two worlds overlap. There comes a stage in every shift where you're no longer fully inside the old self, but not yet anchored in the future self. It feels like standing in a long hallway. The door behind you has closed, but the one ahead hasn't opened. The mind panics here because it loves certainty, yet the heart senses this corridor as sacred space. It's not punishment, it's transition. This in-between, though uncomfortable, is the exact vibration where quantum alignment begins to take form. Think of moving houses. The old place is already packed up, but the new one isn't ready yet. You're surrounded by boxes, sleeping on a mattress on the floor, feeling suspended. It's awkward, but necessary. That's the corridor. The ego screams, "You don't belong anywhere." But intuition whispers, "Hold steady. The bridge is being built beneath your feet." This liminal space teaches mastery, presence without labels, trust without guarantees. Daily life constantly gives you these in-betweens. Waiting for test results, standing in line for a visa, or even being between relationships. The old rhythm has ended, but the new melody hasn't started. And what feels like static or noise is actually the field rearranging itself. This is why the corridor is so powerful. The silence is not empty, it's pregnant with resonance. The future isn't created later, it's already humming here, waiting for you to notice. The body feels this corridor intensely. You may notice unusual fatigue, bursts of energy or emotions surfacing for no reason. That's your antenna adjusting frequencies, clearing out static from the old self to tune into the new. It can feel like a radio caught between stations, fragments of two songs at once. The mastery lies in not rushing to fix it, but letting the signal stabilize. Breath, presence, and simple grounding practices can help you hold steady. I remember a client who left a corporate job but hadn't found their new direction yet. They felt lost, questioning every choice. Yet that lostness was actually the corridor. Over months, their inner compass guided them through journaling, long walks, and conversations that seemed random, but later revealed perfect synchronicities. The future self was already pulling them forward, even when the mind only saw uncertainty. The corridor was not wasted time, it was incubation. If you've ever traveled by plane, you know the strange space of layovers. You're not at home, not at your destination, stuck in a terminal that feels like nowhere. But without that corridor, the journey can't connect. Life mirrors that same pattern. These nowhere places are where convergence happens, invisible but essential. The ego fights, craving speed, while mastery accepts the liminal. It's here your sovereignty is tested most deeply. This corridor also reveals the illusions of control. The old self believes that if nothing is happening, you're failing. But presence in the corridor teaches the opposite. Silence is alignment, stillness is preparation. Expansion happens not by running to force open the next door, but by allowing the resonance of your future self to unlock it from the inside. Intuition becomes your compass in the dark, guiding you with signals instead of maps. And just when the mind grows restless, something shifts. The static clears, and you feel the vibration of the next frequency waiting. That's when you realize the corridor was never empty, it was a passage. You weren't stuck, you were being tuned. And as you learn to hold this liminal space, you'll see the secret. Frequency is everything. And the next stage is about tuning into the future that already exists. The future isn't something you build from scratch. It's something you access, like tuning into a radio station that has always been playing. The songs don't begin when you turn the dial. They were already resonating in the field. Shift is the same. Your future self already exists, vibrating at a frequency you can choose to align with. The mind says you must work harder, but the heart knows it's about resonance, not force. Intuition becomes the compass that guides you through the static. Imagine you're scrolling through TV channels. When you land on the right frequency, the image is clear, the sound pure. You didn't invent the show, you aligned with it. Life mirrors that simplicity. The ego tries to complicate it with effort and timelines, but the truth is presence. Breath becomes the antenna, and the body picks up signals of alignment. Your mastery lies not in pushing, but in feeling when the resonance clicks into place like a lock turning smoothly. Think about relationships. Sometimes you meet someone and instantly feel a deep connection. It's not logic, it's vibration. Your frequencies converge, creating alignment beyond words. That's the same principle you use to meet your future self. When you embody gratitude, presence, and sovereignty now, you broadcast a signal that matches the life you're stepping into. The shift isn't external first, it's internal. Frequency is everything because reality reflects the tone you carry. I once spoke with someone who wanted abundance desperately. They worked harder, hustled longer, but still felt stuck. When they shifted into gratitude for what was already present, their frequency changed. Within weeks, new opportunities arrived effortlessly. The old self thought effort was the path. The new self understood resonance. This is the paradox. When you stop chasing and start embodying, the field mirrors your vibration. The expansion you seek is already alive, waiting for you to tune in. Daily practices reveal this truth. When you put on a song that uplifts you, your mood shifts instantly. That's frequency in action. You don't wait for the future to feel joy. You create the resonance now, and the field responds. Breathing deeply, walking in nature, or even laughing with a friend are simple ways of aligning your antenna to expansion. Mastery isn't about big rituals, it's about consistency in choosing vibrations that reflect the future you're calling in. The ego resists this simplicity, insisting on complex steps. It thrives on noise, on static. But your consciousness is more sovereign than that. Presence is enough. Each time you choose to quiet the mind and feel the body, you step closer to alignment. Your heart becomes the bridge, translating vibration into lived experience. This is why intuition often feels illogical. It's bypassing the old maps and aligning directly with the field of possibilities. Frequency also explains synchronicity. Ever notice when you start thinking about someone and they suddenly text you? That's resonance at play. You aligned briefly with their signal and the field responded. The same happens with opportunities, healing, and growth. Your future self isn't coming. It's already broadcasting. The only question is, are you tuning into it or staying lost in the static of the old self? The choice is always yours. And when you finally settle into that frequency, something shifts inside. You no longer ask, when will it happen? Instead, you embody, it's already happening. That shift in language, in presence, in vibration, is the gateway. And as you begin to live this truth, the body itself reveals its role, not as an obstacle, but as the ultimate antenna through which the resonance of the quantum field becomes tangible. Your body isn't just flesh and bone, it's an antenna tuned to the quantum field. Every breath, every heartbeat, every subtle vibration is a signal. When you feel joy, gratitude, or even peace, your body radiates a frequency that aligns with your future self. The challenge is that the ego interprets sensations only through the old self, calling discomfort bad or labeling tension as wrong. But the truth is, your body is speaking the language of resonance long before the mind catches up. Think about how your stomach reacts before a big decision. Butterflies, tightness, or expansion. These are not random. They're signals. Your body is the compass pointing toward alignment or resistance. The old self calls it anxiety. The future self sees it as vibration preparing you for growth. This is why presence matters. By simply breathing and noticing, you decode the whispers of intuition that are otherwise drowned out by static. Everyday examples prove this. Imagine walking into a room where two people just argued. Without hearing a word, you feel the heaviness. That's your antenna picking up frequency. On the flip side, step into a space filled with laughter and your energy lifts instantly. Your body translates resonance into emotion, showing you whether you're aligning with expansion or contraction. The mastery lies in listening, not overriding. I once knew someone who kept ignoring their body's signals. They pushed through fatigue, silenced intuition with caffeine, and numbed emotions with distractions. Eventually, their body screamed through illness. Only then did they realize the body had been broadcasting static for years, begging for alignment. Once they slowed down through simple practices like mindful walking and deep breathing, they discovered presence wasn't abstract, it was physical, tangible. Their body was the gateway to mastery. Breath is one of the clearest ways to feel frequency. Notice how shallow breathing creates tension, feeding the ego and old self. But a deep, steady breath expands the chest, calms the static, and tunes your body back into alignment. Even 5 minutes of conscious breathing can shift your vibration. It's like adjusting the antenna on a radio until the signal comes through clearly. Suddenly, the noise fades, and resonance becomes music. Emotions are also part of this antenna system. They're not enemies to suppress, but messages to interpret. Joy means you're resonating with the field of your future self. Fear means the old self is resisting expansion. Neither is wrong. Both are signals. Mastery is learning to decode without judgment. Just like a weather vane points where the wind blows, your emotions point toward the vibration you're embodying in each moment. Even posture tells a story. When you slump, your chest collapsed, your frequency reflects contraction. When you stand tall, shoulders open, breath flowing, your body broadcasts sovereignty. Try it. Walk into a meeting embodying the future self you imagine. Present, calm, steady. Watch how people respond differently. The body doesn't just receive resonance, it transmits it. That's how synchronicity begins. Your antenna broadcasts alignment and the field mirrors it back. And so, the body becomes more than a vessel. It's a living compass, tuning fork and transmitter of your consciousness. When you honor it, you access not just survival, but expansion. And as you embody this antenna, the question arises, how do we anchor this shift daily in ways simple enough to live by, yet powerful enough to transform? That's where practices become the bridge. Shifts don't happen because of grand gestures once in a while. They're anchored in small, consistent actions. Think of brushing your teeth. You don't wait until your mouth feels bad to start. You do it daily because it maintains alignment. The same is true for tuning into your future self. Presence isn't a weekend project, it's a daily mastery. The body, like an antenna, needs constant tuning. Simple practices repeated create resonance with the frequency of your future. One of the most powerful tools is focused attention. In a world full of static and noise, giving full presence to a single task becomes an act of sovereignty. Try eating without your phone, just tasting, breathing, noticing. That simple act of attention turns ordinary moments into anchors for alignment. Your future self doesn't multitask in chaos. It breathes, chooses, and creates with clarity. Each time you practice attention, you broadcast the signal of mastery. Gratitude without condition is another key. Not the kind that waits for blessings to arrive, but gratitude as frequency. Waking up and saying thank you before anything happens is like sending a signal into the quantum field that says, I'm already aligned. The resonance comes first, the results follow. You can start with small things, the taste of coffee, the warmth of a shower. Gratitude is not a reaction, it's a vibration. That vibration tunes you into your future self. Breathwork is perhaps the simplest, yet most underestimated tool. 5 minutes of conscious breathing resets the body's antenna. Inhale deeply, exhale slowly, noticing the expansion in your chest. This practice clears static from the nervous system, calming the ego's panic. Try it before a meeting, before answering an emotional message, or even in traffic. That pause creates alignment. Your breath becomes the bridge between old self and future self, tuning your body into resonance. Micro-actions are also powerful. Instead of waiting to feel ready, embody your future self in small ways today. If your future self is fit, take the stairs instead of the elevator. If your future self is abundant, tip generously. If your future self is calm, respond instead of reacting. These are not symbolic gestures, they're frequencies embodied. Each choice reinforces the signal, broadcasting to the quantum field. This is who I am now. Journaling can also anchor presence. Write as if you were your future self, describing your current day. This trick flips the perspective, dissolving the old self's doubts. It's like time traveling on paper, pulling the vibration of tomorrow into today. Over time, the static of uncertainty fades, and you start to see synchronicities unfolding. Words carry resonance, and when written daily, they rewire not just your thoughts, but your frequency. Movement is another gateway. Your body holds memory, and moving shifts energy. Whether it's yoga, a walk in nature, or simply dancing to a song in your living room, movement clears noise and realigns presence. Your future self isn't stiff or stagnant, it's fluid, alive, expansive. Treat your body as an instrument and daily movement as tuning. Even 5 minutes can reset your vibration, reminding you that expansion is physical, not just mental. Anchoring the shift isn't about doing more, it's about doing consistently. Attention, gratitude, breath, micro-actions, journaling and movement aren't chores. They're signals. Each practice says, I choose alignment. And as you build these rituals, something deeper unfolds. You begin to notice that even pain, the most misunderstood signal, carries within it the code of growth, leading us into the next phase of metamorphosis. Pain is not the enemy, it's a messenger. When the body aches, when the heart feels heavy, when the mind resists, it's often a sign of growth, not failure. Just as a caterpillar dissolves inside the cocoon before becoming a butterfly, you too experience dismantling before expansion. The ego calls it suffering, but your future self knows it as recalibration. The vibration of the old self must break apart for the new frequency to resonate clearly. Think of working out at the gym. The soreness after lifting weights isn't punishment. It's the body's code of adaptation. Muscles tear slightly to grow stronger. Pain is simply information that growth is underway. Shift mirrors this. When old patterns collapse, the discomfort you feel is not static to avoid, but resonance breaking through. The heart senses expansion even when the mind interprets contraction. This is mastery, seeing pain as proof of progress. Daily life also shows this truth. Starting a new job feels overwhelming. Ending a relationship hurts deeply. Moving to a new city triggers loneliness. Yet each pain signals transformation. Your nervous system, like an antenna, vibrates between frequencies, releasing the old noise to embody sovereignty. The old self resists, whispering that something is wrong. But presence teaches otherwise. Every pang of discomfort is a step closer to convergence with your future self. I once spoke with someone who felt shattered after losing their business. They called it failure. Yet in the quiet months that followed, they began journaling, meditating, and connecting with people they never would have met otherwise. 2 years later, they created a new venture aligned with their true calling. Looking back, the pain wasn't punishment. It was a doorway. Their expansion required that collapse, even though at the time it felt unbearable. Pain also cleanses the static within. When grief hits, it strips away illusions, forcing presence. Tears are signals, releasing energy the body can't hold anymore. In those moments, your body acts as antenna and amplifier, broadcasting raw truth into the field. The mastery lies in allowing it, not suppressing. Presence in pain opens space for intuition to speak, guiding you toward alignment you would never hear in comfort. Even nature teaches this. Seeds break through hard soil before sprouting. The earth shakes before mountains rise. Pain is built into every metamorphosis. To resist it is to resist life itself. Shift demands courage, to breathe through contractions, to trust the body's signals, to see beyond the ego's panic. Sovereignty means embracing the discomfort as resonance, not retreating into the illusion of safety. Think of heartbreak. It cracks you open, yes, but it also expands your capacity to love. The old self wants to close, protect, contract. The future self expands, learning compassion, depth, and presence. That expansion wouldn't be possible without pain as the catalyst. Pain is not the opposite of growth. It's the price of it. The vibration of mastery is forged in fire, not comfort. And so, pain becomes less of a curse and more of a code, an update written into your body, your breath, your frequency. It's a temporary signal that you're evolving. And once you embrace that truth, pain no longer holds you hostage. Instead, it propels you into sovereignty, preparing you for the realization that your shift is not just personal. It reverberates outward, lifting the field for everyone around you. Your shift is never just about you. Every frequency you embody radiates outward, touching the lives of those around you. Think about how one person's laughter can lift the mood of an entire room, or how one person's anger can spread tension instantly. You are an antenna, and your presence transmits resonance into the collective field. When you align with your future self, you don't just change your life, you contribute to the convergence of a greater whole. Consider how communities heal when individuals heal. A parent who practices presence teaches their children sovereignty without words. A leader who embodies calmness reduces static in their team. One aligned body, one conscious breath, one heart vibrating with expansion can reset the frequency of a family, a workplace, even a neighborhood. This is not abstract. It's visible, measurable. Your healing is a ripple in the quantum field, and the field amplifies it. I once knew someone who started practicing gratitude daily. At first it was private, just writing notes in a journal. But soon, their conversations shifted. They listened more, judged less, radiated calm. Friends noticed, colleagues noticed, and before long, others began journaling too. What started as one person's inner practice became a collective resonance. That's the hidden power of the shift. Synchronicity multiplies when one individual embodies alignment. Science even hints at this. Studies on heart coherence show that when one person's heart enters a state of calm resonance, people nearby unconsciously synchronize with that frequency. The body is more than biology. It's a transmitter. Breath, posture, vibration, they broadcast signals. When you embody sovereignty, others feel it, even if they can't explain it. This is why mastery is contagious. Your future self doesn't elevate alone, it lifts the field with it. Daily life confirms this truth. When you choose patience instead of frustration in traffic, you subtly shift the atmosphere around you. When you bring compassion to a tense conversation, You open a door for expansion others didn't know was possible. Each small act of alignment is a signal to the collective saying, another way exists. You become a quiet lighthouse, guiding others without forcing, simply by being. Pain, once integrated, becomes part of this service. Your story of growth becomes a blueprint for others still lost in static. Sovereignty doesn't isolate, it inspires. The ego wants healing to be private, hidden, but the field thrives when healing becomes shared frequency. That doesn't mean preaching, it means embodying. Intuition will show when to speak, when to simply radiate presence. Either way, the impact ripples beyond you. Think of social movements. They don't begin with millions. They begin with a handful of people embodying a new vibration until it becomes resonance strong enough to converge with the collective. Your shift is no different. The more you expand, the more you anchor a possibility for others. In this way, alignment becomes service, mastery becomes contribution, and your personal frequency becomes part of humanity's future. And so you realize this journey was never just personal transformation. It's collective convergence. Your healing is humanity's healing. Your sovereignty becomes a signal others didn't know they were waiting for. And as you step into this role, silent, steady, radiant, you discover that shift is both personal mastery and collective expansion. But to understand its full power, we must now circle back and weave everything into a story that began long before you pressed play. You don't need to chase anymore. Now it's about being. You are the signal. You are the antenna. You are the music itself. Shift isn't something you do. It's something you allow yourself to live. All along, your future self has been waiting for this moment, and you've just tuned into the resonance. The question you're left with is simple yet powerful. What if this is the exact moment everything changes because you finally chose never to turn back? If this message spoke to you, anchor it right now. Declare in the comments, "The shift is active in me." That statement seals your commitment energetically. It's not just words, it's vibration. Let it be your signature in the quantum field. And if this video sparked something within you, like a memory you didn't know you carried, then like this video and subscribe to the channel, because this is just the beginning. If this video activated your shift, the next one is where you'll discover how to sustain that frequency in the real world. That's the second key, and it's waiting for you.